All right, welcome back to Savory Kitchen, where savory spice makes everything nice. I'm joined once again by my nephew, Chef Sheen.
How you doing, everybody? Glad to be back again.
All right, we're gonna do a few things today. We're gonna start off with Sunday sauce. So I moved to Rochester, New York, in a Italian neighborhood, and I remember having dinner with the Vacas, and it started at noon, and I don't know when it ended, but I felt like I ate for 24 hours. They had chicken cutlets, they had meatballs, but they had this really incredible sauce, and I was able to get parts of that recipe, and we're gonna try to recreate the Sunday sauce today. We're also going to make homemade meatballs, and we're gonna make homemade pasta with the kids so that we can use the sauce and the meat for dishes throughout the week. But today we're gonna start with a nice savory sauce. We're gonna use Italian sausage. We're also going to use some country style pork, both relatively inexpensive cuts of meat that stretch the sauce and adds a lot of flavor. We're gonna make our homemade pasta, and then we're gonna also use some crushed tomatoes and tomato paste. We have done the steamed tomatoes in the past. I think it's a lot of work to get a little bit of juice, so the cans work really, really well. But once this is all done, you'll see that we can use the meatballs throughout the week, making meatball bombers or pasta and meatballs. The kids can make that stuff for themselves after school. You'll also see that for the pasta, it's fun. It's a family fun activity. Again, just want to have fun in the kitchen on a Sunday makes a world of difference. And for those who cheat, I'm going to recommend this brand of sauce. I don't get paid for this advertisement. This brand of sauce is an incredible sauce for the kids to use during the week if you're cheating. There's a bunch of different varieties. There's meat sauce, cheese sauce. But you take the meatballs and throughout the week, the kids can bake those themselves, throw sauce over it, especially when you have those long days at work. So we're gonna get started with our meatballs, which we're gonna use ground veal, ground beef, ground pork, some breadcrumbs, eggs, garlic, onion, crushed red pepper, chicken stock, and parsley.
All right, so now what we'll be doing is our homemade meatballs, which is a mixture of ground veal, ground beef, and ground pork. So first right here, as you can see, I have a mixture. Now this is chicken stock, parsley, onions, and garlic. You just put it in a simple food processor, keep running until it's nice and finely minced. Not smooth because you don't want it to be too mushy, but nice and finely minced. Next, you pour it into your mixture of meat. Make sure you scrape the bowl or container and get all of it out.
It smells good.
Yeah, it is really good. I love this, the aroma of fresh garlic. Then after that, next you want to add a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes. Just about a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. You don't want to make it too hot. Crushed red pepper flakes increase.
Put some more in there.
Put some more in there?
Yeah. We kicking
They
it up a
increase
notch.
as you cook them.
There we go.
A little ground black pepper. And some salt.
It's salty much.
All right. Next, you want to take your Italian breadcrumbs, and then we have some Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Mix them in a bowl. Sprinkle them into the mixture as well. This is going to help bind and keep the meatballs together, as well as give it a great taste. Next, you want to add 2 eggs. Eggs help bind it as well and also give it a little bit more moisture. Then you just take your hands and you just thoroughly mix it through.
Those big hands, it's gonna be like a pound of meatballs right there. So that's about 3 pounds of meat. There's a pound of each, 1 pound of beef, 1 pound of pork, and 1 pound of veal. We're gonna take these meatballs, we're gonna form them into small balls. We're gonna pan fry them with some olive oil. You can also just bake them if you want, but you want them to get nice crisp on the outside, so when you put them into the sauce, they don't disintegrate, right? And to that sauce as well, we're gonna add again some country style pork, some Italian sausage, onions, garlic, red wine, tomato paste, and some crushed tomatoes. So we're gonna pull the sauce together in a second, but this is gonna be some incredible meatballs. This is actually Chef Rocco's recipe. He had a cooking show on TV back in the day, and this is his grandmother's recipe that we took and we used for this episode.
All right, so you want to thoroughly mix the the mixture together until it's nice and uniform, as you can see. It's not too soft, but it's still very malleable. And then next what we're going to do is we're going to start preheating the pan, as my Uncle Sean said. We're going to give these meatballs a nice sear.
We've taken the meatball mixture, formed it into semi-even balls, and we're gonna sear these off for the sauce. I would also recommend people to get a food saver. These are relatively inexpensive. I use it all the time. We're gonna seal some meatballs up here. You see I put the date, 350 degrees, 20 and 30 minutes. And when I do it these, is when after a long week of work, the kids know to take them out of the freezer, put them in the oven, mix it with some sauce, either sauce that I made or some sauce from the store, and they can use it in many different ways. Again, meatball bombers, they can use it as an appetizer, or they can add it, meatball bomber with a little Parmesan or mozzarella cheese on top. I like that, or some fresh bread, or just simple pasta and meatballs. But I try to use a food saver because I can get big packs of meat from a wholesale place and refreeze it for the week, and I save a ton of money that way, and I'm able to cook a lot of different types of dishes without having an expensive cost.
Yep.
All right, next we're gonna sear off the meatballs, and we're going to then start to form the sauce for our Sunday sauce.
All right, so here I'm just searing the meatballs in some olive oil. You know, when you get a nice brown coating evenly around the whole meatball, and I add to the flavor. And then what we'll do is we'll save the oil in the fond, which is the meat and the flavors and the bits, the brown bits that's left in the bottom of the pan from cooking. And we'll add that to the base of the sauce. The fond really holds so much flavor, and it really helps build any sauce or stock or anything that you're cooking with.
All right, as Chef Sheen works on our meatballs, I'm gonna start the meat for the base of our sauce. We have some Italian sausage links. I'm gonna bake these in the oven for 30 minutes so that the skin gets nice and crisp, and it'll go back into the sauce. These are country style or Western style pork. I'm just gonna cut these up into small pieces, season with salt and pepper. And these are gonna go right into the sauce raw. I'm not gonna pre-bake these. They're gonna cook down and be incredible. At the end, we're gonna salt and pepper them. This is gonna be the meat base. So we'll have Italian sausage, country style pork, and the meatballs. Now I know someone just texted me and was like, hey, what about us non-pork eaters? One answer is make it yourself. No, but second is you can use chicken sausage, chicken meatballs. There's a ton of recipes out there that just do a non-pork version of our sauce, but I love pork in my house, so I'm cooking pork. All right, now we took the pan drippings or the fond, just learned that term today from my nephew. From the meatballs, we're gonna add onions, garlic, then we're gonna deglaze the pan with some red wine, and then put that and start the stock for our sauce. Get all that flavor going. Cook these until the onions are translucent. Right at the end, we're gonna add some garlic. Again, deglaze a pan. Take this mixture, put it into the our pot. Where we're gonna put the tomato paste, crushed tomatoes, and other seasonings. So in the pot right now, we have this incredible onion, garlic that was sauteed in the fond with red wine. We're gonna add 3 18-ounce big cans of tomato paste, and then 2 28-ounce cans of crushed tomatoes. And we're gonna add 6 cups of water. So we're doing this in a 8-quart pot. You're gonna have all these ingredients in. We're gonna add some oregano. We're gonna add some salt, pepper, the meat, and we're gonna let this just simmer for about 2 hours. In the meantime, kids and I are gonna get together. We're gonna make some homemade pasta. Got some fresh basil. Put the whole thing in as such. I'm gonna add some oregano. About a tablespoon or more. Salt, pepper. I've already done. Just put that right in there. You gonna hand me the pork there, Sheeter?
Yep.
Now we're gonna add all that pork that we seasoned and cut up earlier to the meat. Yeah, I'm getting worried about having too much meat in there myself. Don't worry. It's all gonna cook down. We're gonna add meatballs. We're gonna add the Italian sausage when they come out of the oven, and it's gonna cook for about 2 hours. And when we come back, we're gonna pour over some homemade pasta. Can't wait to see the results. All right, so we're going to start our pasta by using 8 eggs, 2 whole eggs, and then 6 egg yolks. We're gonna combine that with 2 types of flour, some salt,
and that's it. We'll incorporate it and knead the dough.
and a little bit of olive oil. We're gonna keep it going. All right, so to start that, we're gonna crack 2 eggs. For us, we're using the smaller bowl. That would be a shell that I don't want. And then we're going to start for this bowl, we're gonna have 6, we need 6 more egg yolks. So we have to separate them.
Right, so the best way to do it is crack all of your eggs in another bowl that you just need the yolks from. And then we're actually gonna use our hands and pick the yolks up right out. It's kind of messy, but it's actually the easiest and the best way to do it.
I thought you were yolking when you said that.
That was horny.
Here we go.
You just lowered my expectation for the rest of the day.
That's an excellent, that's an excellent joke. My nephew has been extraordinary.
It's been a lot of fun. It's always good to give back to your community and your older relatives and make sure you keep them working hard.
I'm showing you a couple things there, boy. All right, that's what we got here. So much.
You just give it a shake.
I think it's just slimy
Kind of
between
your fingers and drop it out. If you don't like using your hands to do it, another way to do it is kind of crack your egg in half almost evenly, and you just pour the egg yolk back and forth between the shell, and that'll help get all of the egg whites off and keep you with the yolk in the shell. But it is a little time consuming. This is the fastest way.
I'm gonna use egg yolks tomorrow for omelets in the morning.
Kind of like give your hands a little bit of a shake so they'll fall off. If not, you can always use your other hand and kind of pull it down.
Ew.
And drop it right in the bowl.
Ugh. It's nasty.
You got it, kid. This is Savory Kitchen. It's all about family love.
If you have long acrylic nails, don't try this. Nobody wants fingernails in their pasta.
Ew, that'd be so nasty.
All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the pasta. We use 2 different flours to make it, so that way it has a little bit more of an al dente taste when you bite into it. So we're using all-purpose flour, which most people usually have, and then we use semolina flour, which is a great flour to use in like naan bread and pita bread, but it's also used in pasta to give it a thicker base to it. So just mixed it, did 1-to-1 ratio, stirred in a bowl, whisked it with a pinch of salt. So what now we're gonna do to make the pasta is we're gonna make a well. So you two can both dump your flour out into like a pile on the table.
Slowly, Sean.
Yeah, slowly. So it doesn't fly.
All of it?
Mm-hmm. All of it. And then to make a well, you want it to be a little circular. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your hands and you're just gonna kind of make a motion like that until the bottom of it is thin and it has a wall around it, almost like you're making a bowl on the table out of the flour. And what this will do is this is going to cradle the eggs and the egg yolks. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a fork and we're going to work it on.
It's almost like a sandcastle.
Yeah, almost like a sandcastle. Make it a little bit wider.
Okay.
Because you got to get all of this in there. Like, maybe like that big in the middle. So what we're going to do now is we're going to whisk the eggs into the bowl so it's nice and smooth. That way we're not trying to whisk the eggs in the mound, which can cause the flour to go fly. It's good. You got a little bit longer to go. She's going to get full like Lexi's. So for this recipe, you can just Google this recipe. It's a basic, simple pasta recipe. I actually use the Tasty app. I love the Tasty app. Find a bunch of cool little quick things on there. So what we're going to do now is you're going to take your yolks and you're going to pour it into the middle of your mound slowly. I'm just going to help you out so it doesn't breach and fall out on the side. And then first what you want to do is, here, I'll take your bowls. Here, let me see. Here for it.
That's cool, man. No, that's good. It's gonna work anyways.
Yep. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna end up working it in. So pretty much like this, you're gonna do this in like the middle of your mound. First you wanna get the flour that's at the bottom of yours, Lexi, before you grab the flour from the outside. Like underneath house flour, you just wanna kinda like stir it.
Do you
So that we
want
don't
more
get
of
huge
this?
Oh no.
No, you can wait a little bit on that. Looks like scrambled eggs almost.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there's no perfect way of doing it. Lexi's got a little Mount Lex over there too.
Oh yeah. What you do is you just take the little bit of flour from the side and work it up.
It's already forming like dough.
Yeah. So we'll leave this, we won't work this too much. Here you go, you can do the middle, kind of scrape it from the bottom in the middle first, and work it, and then up, grab that on the side, and kind of do what I did, so it doesn't fall off on the counter.
How's that, Lex?
Good. Different and hard.
You enjoy being in the Savory kitchen?
Yes.
All right, here you go. You kind of work
Wait till
this,
you're on
and
the
then
other
you'll
side of the
slowly work the
camera.
rest of this in there.
Trying to keep my hands steady.
This is hard.
And then it's at the point where now you can actually use your hands, where like you'll take this dough ball, form it, and then slowly work the rest of the flour in there. So what you kind of do is like, kind of make a ball, push it down with your hands. Yep, knead it.
Good job, Sean.
This is really cool. It feels sort of
Like Play-Doh.
thick. Yeah.
It's like Play-Doh, like the new Play-Doh, like not hard. It's weird.
It's kind of cool that we made such a like firm dough out of just eggs and flour.
How is it flavored? Is it like they would have like seasonings now or something?
They would add, if you want to have like different types of pasta, they would add that now. Sometimes you can put like squid ink, or if they make it really fancy. But you can make it as easy or simple as you want.
Is that how they also color it sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
You might have like, you know, some red pasta, they'll put like
Why do they
roasted
color
red
it?
peppers. I think of different tastes. Because right now it's pretty bland, right? I mean, we add a little bit of olive oil to it to help you be able to knead it. But you might put black pepper in there, you know, black pepper pasta.
Are we going to put anything in it?
If you want, it's your dough. You can do whatever you want, kiddo. What are you thinking? What would you put in your dough if you were able to flavor it?
Garlic,
Okay.
because then you could make it like garlic and like put pesto on top. So it almost-
Maybe put like some garlic powder, or
Right. Yeah.
after this, we're gonna take it. We're actually gonna put it through the pasta machine here.
Do we have any garlic powder?
We have garlic powder, yeah. I grabbed
Put
that
some
for
in?
you. Yep, it's in the spice rack. Want to get out the spice rack?
Yeah.
All right, now the kids are going to use the pasta roller to get this pasta nice and thin.
Whoa, fam. Okay, go.
Get your hands dirty. And today we're gonna make some fettuccine.
Keep going.
We're gonna keep rolling all the dough. It has it's rested for about 30 minutes in a covered bowl. We're gonna keep going. You guys make it there.
Fettuccine.
Keep going.
Fresh.
Fresh fettuccine.
Homemade.
Put a little, using the garlic powder flavored pasta in here. There you go. Good.
Nice.
It's a nice pasta strip. There you go. That's some homemade fettuccine.
Feed that one, brother man.
Alright. Put the right here. Okay, there you go, Bubs.
You guys are doing great.
Go ahead. Let me put this in first. Okay, go ahead. Go on. Just gotta catch.
There
There
it
you
is.
go. There you go. Good job, Johnny.
Fettuccine.
Great job, guys.
Good job.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
All right, thank you for joining us on another edition of Savory Kitchen, where savory and spice makes everything nice. Be sure to like us and to subscribe below. You can also get notifications for the next time that we post. Thank you for joining us today for Saucy Sunday. Peace.